Good afternoon, everyone. That's right. It is a good afternoon. It's a good afternoon because we're here to talk about transit equity, something that we don't talk about enough. I'm State Senator Andrew Gounardes from the wonderful borough of Brooklyn, New York. But I'm here as a concerned New Yorker, and I'm here also as an Original Riders Alliance member. So transit is in my blood. Whether they live in Buffalo or Brooklyn, the suburbs of Long Island, the small town in the Catskills, or the rural Adirondacks, New Yorkers from all places deserve safe
and
Rochester. I tried to get everyone. And the Southern Tier and Syracuse. Let's keep going there. All New Yorkers deserve safe and reliable options to get around.
That's right.
That's right. But we know that the planners and the leaders of the past, backed by the auto and fossil fuel industries, invested the vast majority of our transportation money in roads and highways at the expense of other forms of transportation that better meet our community's needs. And not only that, they oftentimes built that infrastructure with an intent to divide our community so that certain people stayed on some side of the road versus the other. In many neighborhoods, including in my very own district, these highways have literally divided us instead of connecting us. Most New Yorkers have been left dependent on a transportation network that simply does not deliver on its promise.
That ain't right.
This ain't right. And now at this moment, with billions of dollars of federal infrastructure funding coming into New York State, we have a unique opportunity to better connect New Yorkers to work, school, healthcare, and other essential services. Because we're facing a climate crisis and we need to act now. Transportation is the single largest source of emissions in the United States, and under our existing Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, climate and social equity mandates require us to shift course from car dependency to creating more options for getting around and to offer all New Yorkers genuine freedom of mobility. This is also about creating economic opportunity for New Yorkers to better connect them to jobs and other resources, and giving them the freedom to choose the transportation option that works best for them.
That's right.
So under the bill that we're talking about today, and I'm thankful that I'm joined by Assemblymember colleague, Assemblymember Karen McMahon, we are trying to set a bold, ambitious, but achievable goal to reduce the number of cars on our roads by the year 2050. And we're going to do it using the very metric that the transportation planners who built all of these car infrastructure for decades have relied on, vehicle miles traveled. It's not a sexy term, but it's an important one, and that's how we're going to work to reduce the number of cars on our roads. If we can reduce the total number of miles that vehicles travel on our roads by 20%, we're going to get more cars and more trucks off of our roadways. We're going to do this very simply by requiring state, county, and local projects that propose to expand highway infrastructure and highway capacity, expand roadway capacity to undergo a vehicle mile traveled assessment prior to a single shovel being put in the ground to build more highways. And if a project is found to not align with our climate and transportation equity goals, the law will require changes to those projects to align those goals to mitigate impact. The best way to mitigate impact is to expand transit options and micromobility options and pedestrian options and cycling options alongside those projects. And the bill will establish a technical advisory committee to make sure that we get the details right, that we get the math right, because we don't want people telling us, oh no, these highways will be good for you. Oh no, these highways will be good for your community. We want to have independent experts to actually verify that, because we know that it has not worked for us for a long time.
Disability transportation, we need it right now.
There you
now,
go.
Now, we need it now. And affordable.
That's right. So this is going to help all New Yorkers, whether you live in a city, whether you live in a suburb, or whether you live in a rural community. Because we know that cities need faster, more reliable bus routes and safer connections for walking and cycling. We know that suburban communities need more freedom to travel in between cities so that we stop hearing these excuses that we don't want congestion pricing because we need to drive 2.5 hours into Manhattan. That's garbage. And we know it's going to help rural communities that depend on cars, but not every household has a car. Not every household can afford a car. We want to expand. We heard about sidewalks, something as simple as building sidewalks along roads so people can walk safely. We know that this approach works because other states have done it as well. Last year, Minnesota made history with a new law requiring its Department of Transportation to cut vehicle miles traveled, similar to what we're proposing here. And an analysis in Minnesota showed that by doing the same thing we're proposing, cutting vehicle miles traveled by 20%, would save the state just under $100 billion. And that money better reinvested into all the things that we're here to care about: better transit, more infrastructure for cyclists, better infrastructure for pedestrians, more disability advocacy options as well. All the things that we know we've been begging for table scraps for far too long. So the bottom line is this. Today we're here to talk about how we're going to shift our transportation policy goals in favor of greater freedom and access for all New Yorkers. We're here because we want to protect our climate, and we're here because we want to start building the transportation system of the future starting today. Thank you.